Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 9th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're calling the meeting to order, and we'll ask everyone to please silence their cell phones at this time. I'll introduce the board. Starting on my far right, your far left, is Jerry Patamas, who is an associate member of the board and recently was reappointed. Welcome back, Jerry.
Thank you.
To my immediate right is Scott Zelinski, who is the vice chair of the board. My name is TJ Hurry. I'm the chair. To my left is Bob Dugan, who is the board's clerk, and James Morse is on the far end, who is a full voting member. Also with us tonight is Noreen Stockman, who is the zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, who is the recording secretary for the night. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the zoning bylaws for the town, and we consider requests on special permits, variances, and appeals as provided in the town bylaws, which have been approved by town meeting, and the Attorney General's Office for the Commonwealth. All decisions the board makes are made through the public hearing process. The board's goal is to hear testimony from the applicants, from the public, and also to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to rendering a decision. To begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement of the hearing and then present any pertinent information from the file, such as referrals from town departments and summarizing correspondences to the board. The applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, and time may be extended by vote of the board. The board will then question the applicant, and the public will be invited to comment as well. Public comments should only be directed at the project itself. We ask you to please refrain from making any personal or derogatory statements. Public comment can include an opinion in favor, in opposition, or it might just simply be a question about the nature of the project. The chair will limit discussion in the interest of time in the event that comments become repetitive. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair, should come to the podium to your left, and we ask you to please state your name and address for the record. And we typically limit public comment to 2 minutes per person. The board will then either close or continue the hearing. When the board is satisfied that enough information has been presented by testimony and in the file to make a decision, by motion and vote of the board, the hearing will be closed. And the alternative, we may continue the hearing to a future date and time certain. After the hearing is closed, no more testimony may be taken. And as for board discussion and decision, the board may then further discuss the project among ourselves. We would make a motion to deny or approve would be made and voted upon. Such a motion will include a summary of key findings and conditions. An affirmative vote of 4 members, which is a supermajority, is required for approval of motions on special permits, variances, and appeals. A split vote, such as a 3-2 vote, would be a failure to carry and would result in denial of the project. Under Massachusetts general law, if a special permit is denied, the applicant cannot return to the board for 2 years unless the project is substantially different. So turning to our agenda for the night, we do have public comment, followed by 4 new public hearings. We do have a few items on our open meeting agenda as well. So up first is public comment. This public comment period is meant for anything that is not on the agenda. So if anyone out there has anything to say that is not on the agenda, you can be recognized at this time. All right, not seeing anyone, so we'll just continue with the agenda. We do have new hearings scheduled at 6:30. Up first, we have application 59-21, Eel Pond Realty LLC, 87 Water Street in Woods Hole, requesting a special permit to allow a restaurant in addition to existing market and a new deck with steps at the rear of the existing structure, increasing lot coverage by structures.
So application number 59-21, Eel Pond Realty LLC, 87 Water Street, Woods Hole, Mass. is applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-3C, 240-18.1, 240-51D, and 240-107B of the Code of Falmouth to allow a restaurant in addition to the existing market and a new deck with steps at the rear of the existing structure, which will increase lot coverage by structures. The subject property is 87 Water Street, Woods Hole, Mass. Planning Board did file a decision on this in favor with conditions. Concom, and this is from August 17th, wrote the proposed deck does not appear to meet Falmouth Wetlands Regulation performance standards listed as FWR 10.18 7E1. This activity does not appear to be allowed under the Falmouth Wetlands Regulations and would require filing a notice of intent with the Falmouth Conservation Commission. Since then, there were revisions, so I don't think that longer applies, but the applicant could speak to that. For engineering, application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Water Street is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require filing a permit with the engineering division. Any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. The project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. And then they included their referral that went to the planning board. This was their comments on that. The adequacy of the existing sewer infrastructure and capacity are subject to review by the wastewater division. Regarding water, adequacy of the existing water infrastructure, subject to review by the water division. Parking and access, the applicant is requesting a waiver from the zoning board of appeals to on-site parking requirements. We refer to the zoning board in this matter. Regarding grading and drainage, there is no proposed grading work for the site and no increase or alteration of pervious or impervious surfaces. There should be no impacts to stormwater patterns on the site. Planning board's referral mentioned their agenda, but we already got their approval. Assessors, no comment. Water, no comment. And I don't have any referrals from wastewater or health.
So wastewater is working on a referral for the select board.
Okay, so that's what this note is, so there's gonna be a variance with the select board on the 13th?
Correct. So that has not been heard yet.
Okay. And then as far as letters, there's 18 letters slash emails in support, and then they also submitted a signature list of 848 signatures. I usually read every letter in, but if applicant's willing to waive reading of the 18 letters, I would appreciate it.
These were in support, right?
They're all in support, everything's in support, yeah. And that's all that we have in here.
All right. And for the applicant, we have Attorney Ahmet. Sir?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
just
sure.
for the record, since, excuse me, Mr. Rahmet, a disclosure was filed regarding this matter from a potential conflict. I do not believe one exists, but I'll defer to Mr. Ahmet.
We're fine with that.
Fine with that? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We're
Council.
fine with that. All right.
I was going to ask you to read all 848 names.
That'll be a first.
I had been hoping for 1,000 signatures, so we fell a little bit short of that. Woods Hole's an awfully special place in many, many ways. One of the special places in Woods Hole is the property that's the subject of the hearing tonight, 87 Water Street. It's owned by Eel Pond Realty LLC, a Massachusetts company, the manager of which is Branch J. Parrish, or Jeff Parrish, who's in the front row here. He and his wife Colleen really own this property, and they have operated the Woods Hole Market, Woods Hole's only real grocery store, since they bought the property about 11 years ago. And it's a tough business with a lot of limitations. And what they're proposing to do is turn the second floor of the building into a restaurant, not a big restaurant, a restaurant that would have some synergy with the market for deliveries and food preparation and so on, but with a liquor license, which we would hope to get from the Board of Selectmen, should make a difference in being able to continue to operate the grocery store and to be able to hopefully do it year-round. The grocery store was closed for several years before the parishes bought the property. They haven't been able to keep it open year-round all the time. And the goal here is to make the property work and increase the economic viability, the sustainability of the market that is so important to the community. So the town aerial photograph, which I've put up above you, shows in yellow the small parcel of property on which the Woods Hole Market exists. The existing building covers most of the lot with rather small sidelines setback from the adjoining property. There are, as you probably know, a bunch of restaurants in the area. This is really the main street. Water Street is the main street of Woods Hole. And so it's a restaurant now called The Wharf right here, where at the Eel Pond Bridge, next to it is the Captain Kidd Restaurant, and to the other side or west side of the proposed restaurant space, the Woods Hole Market property. I want to make sure it's understood, the Woods Hole Market, the grocery, is going to remain. On that far side is Shucker's Restaurant. Why do we need a special permit? Well, you need a special permit for multiple uses for non-conforming buildings. You need a special permit if you're going to have a parking reduction. We need a special permit because the present lot coverage is already non-conforming at around 73%, and it's going to go up a little bit because we're going to improve the rear access to the building. So let me close this and pull up a plan that shows the site. This is a site plan, and you can see this is Water Street, the front entrance to the market. Also, there's a side entrance, another entrance in the front at the south side. That will be an entrance to the restaurant. Restaurant would also be accessed through the stairs that come up from the northeast corner of the property up to an existing roof deck. Some of the restaurant would be inside, 18 seats inside on the second floor, and the proposed roof deck has room for 24 seats. But what's new is that presently there's a set of stairs right here. You open the rear door, you immediately step down onto the set of stairs. That's not a safe condition. There needs to be a landing outside that door. So the proposal is to have a 4-by-4 foot landing with just a 4-foot wide deck leading to the stairs going towards the north. So that's the only change to the building that's proposed, and it increases the lot coverage to about 76% from 74.3%. Back in 2011, there was a special permit granted by the Board of Appeals when another set of stairs was proposed and more other work in the back of the building. At that time, the Board of Appeals approved lot coverage of 80%. And the area that's being covered is a patio area that exists today. I'm going to close this and show you the architect's plans prepared by Bill Roslansky of Woods Hole. And of course, you have all of these. The only change, again, to the building is it seen on this lower plan, the new deck and steps in the back. This plan shows interior on the second floor, the 18 seats that would be inside. There's a bar area and some table seating. And then outside on the deck, the proposal is to have 24 seats. Actually, it's 28. There's 7 tables of 4 shown there. And there's also some seating available on the patio behind the building. That's on this lower left of this plan. I'm going to skip and just show you a couple pictures of this existing deck where most of the restaurant activity would be. So this is, I love this picture. If you haven't been to this site, it's really a Noreen Stockman told me today she hadn't gotten down there, and I told her I would show her a picture. It's just a wonderful place to sit. It's quiet because it's on the pond side of the building, so it's not on the street. It's existed because for some years now, this space and the other spaces that are below have been used for customers of the store. There's a deli, it's part of a grocery store, it's not a restaurant by definition. There's no table service. It's a place where people can just take what they've bought and eat it. Also, because it's part of a grocery store, it doesn't meet the definition of fast food, and they prepare sandwiches and like when you come and order something there. So what's happening is that by having a real restaurant where there would be table service for breakfast and for dinner, the idea that at lunchtime the existing operation would be the same, but the hope would be with the liquor license, the restaurant could serve liquor. This is a change of use. And even though we already have 69 seats that are available for store customers, and we're actually reducing it by just a couple to 67, it's a change of use because now it's a restaurant. And previously, we didn't have a parking requirement for those seats because the parking was simply based on the grocery store operation and plus an apartment on the second floor and some office space there. Now we have a restaurant. So suddenly we need parking under the zone bylaw unless it's waived, as the zoning board is authorized to do if there's, for reasons like shared peak times or public parking in the area, something that the Board of Appeals has done frequently. In 2017, for instance, for the Estia restaurant, a restaurant with 203 seats and only 9 parking spaces behind what was a bank, but on Main Street in Falmouth, and there's public parking in the area, street parking, parking lots, and so on, a lot of foot traffic. The Board of Appeals allowed that by reducing the parking, and the Board of Appeals has done it for other restaurants as well, such as for Stone Loving and for the French Bakery, which is a restaurant. In any case, change of use, now it's a restaurant, will be a restaurant, so we needed to come for a parking reduction. And we are increasing the lot coverage just a little bit. So that's why we're here for a special permit. I'm going to show you just a couple of other pictures, and then that's everything that I have to show you visually. This is a picture taken from the deck, and it shows some of the seating that exists on the lower level. You can see a little bit of the patio there. But it also shows you the adjacent restaurant, Shuckers, and a lot of dining activity there. The next picture shows in the other direction from the deck. This is part of Captain Kidd. They have a dining operation out on their pier, also on their deck as well as inside. I just want to tell you about the numbers of that. Shuckers has 120 seats, and Captain Kidd has occupancy allowed of 317 people. So we're asking for, this restaurant proposing would have 67 seats. We already have a store that has 69 seats that are used for people to eat at, but it's not technically a restaurant. So we can't provide parking any more than any of these other restaurants I've mentioned can provide parking. But there's a fair amount of parking available in Woods Hole. Not so much right on Water Street. What's there is not too much. But if you go farther to the north on Water Street, North Street, MBL Street, there's a lot of public parking there. And there are public parking lots at night. Hui has a lot that's next to the Waterside Kitchen that's made available for a small fee. And of course, there's public parking at the Steamship Authority. A lot of people go to Woods Hole on public transportation. They may have come on the Steamship Authority buses. A lot of customers of this restaurant will be people who work at the institutions, which do provide parking, both on-site in Woods Hole and with shuttle service to off-site parking lots. We don't expect that having this restaurant as an adjunct to the store is going to have an adverse impact on traffic. These Main Street areas are what they are, and we think that people wanting to go to get a meal in Woods Hole probably going to go down and would try to go to one of the other restaurants, but this will simply be another opportunity. People come walking, by bike, and so on. I haven't heard anybody raise a concern about this issue. None of the planning board didn't raise it as an issue, and parking is one of the considerations that they're required to make when they issue a site plan review decision, which they did quite enthusiastically. So the request, I think, is pretty simple. Not building anything new except a new set of stairs really in the back of the building. This restaurant will be a lovely place to get breakfast. There isn't a place in breakfast where you can actually sit down at a restaurant table for breakfast. I think maybe the only place serving breakfast is Pie in the Sky, which is a different type of store. And interestingly, Eric Gura wrote a letter to this board in support of what we're proposing. So we think it's going to be lovely. Now, I probably have given you enough information, and if you've read the correspondence from the public that is written in about this, they've said many of the things I've said and added to it. I guess I should note that there won't be any increase in delivery trucks because the same trucks that deliver to the store, the same providers, will be delivering whatever the restaurant needs and that it doesn't come through the store. And similarly for liquor sales, if the selectmen approve it, as we would anticipate, the same distributors who serve the restaurants on each side of this proposed restaurant would be delivering. So we think there'll be no increase in truck traffic as a result of this change in use. If you have questions, I'd love to try to answer them for you.
All right, thank you, Attorney Alman. James, any questions?
I have no questions, no.
Bob?
So on the seating, the 18 seats that are inside, those would just be designated for the restaurant, right? Everything else would be shared?
Yes, that portion of the restaurant would be closed at the noon hour. The only restaurant operation at noon would be, again, subject to approval by the selectmen, would be liquor service, serving to people who may have, who will have bought
And then
something in the store.
because we didn't get something for health, but I know there's a meeting coming up. So that September 13th meeting, is that for the flow neutral bylaw or is that for something else?
No, that is for the flow neutral bylaw. So this restaurant, like the rest of Water Street properties, are connected to the original town sewer, which was Woods Hole. And so an increase in flow is subject to the town's flow neutral bylaw. Basically says if you have a certain percentage increase, then the selectmen need to grant a variance. And they get a referral from the wastewater and superintendent, who will report to them that there is capacity in the system for this relatively small increase in design flow. The total increase is around 2,000 gallons per day. Interestingly, though, we're actually reducing the number of seats where people can have something to eat, but again, we're going from a store classification to a restaurant classification. So just like the parking, we have different requirements we have to meet. And so the selectmen have to approve the allocation of some available flow for this, and I think that particularly with the massive support and absolute lack of opposition for this project, and because it's to keep the grocery store going, I would expect that it would be in the public interest for the selectmen to allow this, and that's a standard that they need to make.
And with your performance indicator scores, so this would be a Class 2?
Well, you're probably pretty familiar with
Yeah.
that table of classifications. The numbers, when we filled it out, come to 205. So
Just over.
200 or more makes it Class 2. It'd be easy to call it a Class 1 restaurant. You could just say, well, we're going to not use disposable utensils instead of some disposable and some not disposable. And there are other ways you could reduce that. But we have to be here for a special permit anyway. We don't want to be restricted to a Class 1, which would be by right. So that's comment on that formula.
And my only question, I don't even know if it has to do with this business or not, but when I went by there today, there were bike racks in the loading zone. Is that something they just placed there, or is it a town?
I'd have to ask Jeff for the answer about who's put them there. And
I just didn't know if they were racks for this business or not, or if they're just in Woods Hole in general.
sure, come on.
Hi, I'm Branch Parish. The racks were put there by myself about 3 years ago. There are no bike racks in the area anywhere on Water Street in that area, so I put them there. The police seemed to have no problem with it. They actually made comments to me that they liked it, and so they really haven't been a problem. And they get removed in the winter, you know, when people really aren't riding anymore. But they're not just used by me, they're mostly used by my neighbors to each side, to be honest with you.
And is that loading zone is that for everyone down there, or is it?
For everyone, it's one of 2 loading zones in Woods Hole, and it's 123 feet long. It's more than adequate.
That's all I have for questions.
Thank you.
Scott?
I see on the plan on A3, it says that the kitchen layout is gonna vary from the plan. I see a hood over there, but I don't see any venting or exhaust out of the roof on these plans. Is that gonna affect the height of this building from its present height?
I'll let Jeff try to respond to that, Scott.
They are vented right now. They're totally vented. They were put in about 7 years ago.
Okay.
There's one on each side of the building. Nothing is happening to those. They're existing.
So do you have you have a fryolator now inside?
There's no fryolators.
No plans for one?
No plans for a
No
fryolator.
future grease trap?
No, I have a grease trap
Ready?
now.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Scott. Jerry?
No, I agree with how well this project's been laid out and so forth. This is an administrative question. I have 2 sets of documents, one's dated June 18, 2021, which doesn't appear to be the proper one. The other one is dated May 2019, but has sign-offs by Mike McGrath on August 2021. So long as, and one has these additional notes on it, the other doesn't, so just for the record, we should make sure we have the right plan or reference to right.
Sure, well, the plan of record
Okay.
would be the last plan that I submitted.
Which is?
In writing to the Board of Appeals, and also a physical copy, but I also submitted it electronically. And that's the plan that is before you now, last revised 8/25/21. Originally, we were planning to connect that deck and stairs in the back with the stairs going up to the second floor deck. And we ran into some problems with that with the building commissioner. And on the advice of the architect, simplified the plan, reduced the size of what's being constructed in the back. And that's what you see. We also narrowed the steps, which are, the steps and the deck. We had it to be 5 feet, coming out 5 feet from the building. It didn't need to be that wide. It's now going to be 4 feet. By doing so, it comes out no further than the existing structure, which was based on the reaction of the conservation administrator to the plan that we not come closer to Eel Pond to comply with the wetland regulations.
I'll defer it to Noreen. You have what you said was not the plan I was concerned with. It was really this site plan, so I don't know.
Could I just ask a question, just because I didn't hear, which sheet are you looking at?
The top one has a date May 8th, 2019. The other has a date June 18th, 2021. One
Right.
has more detail than the other.
So on the May one, the 2019, that above it has the revision dates of 8/20?
Yes, I would think that would be the appropriate.
Yeah, so it has the revision, so that would have been revised August 25th of this year.
And
And then the other one that mentions this year already would have been the
Yeah. All right,
plan that we already had.
so it's the 88-9-62 drawing number. Okay,
All right. Anything else, Jerry?
Nope.
All right,
too much, I think.
no worries. Attorney Alment, there's an existing apartment on site?
I could just repeat that?
Oh, is there an existing apartment on site?
No, there was an apartment approved. There was an apartment as referenced in the 2011 decision of the Board of Appeals, but it hasn't been used as an apartment for a while.
Okay, so that portion of the special permit wasn't exercised then?
I don't think any of the special permit in 2011 was exercised.
Very good. Okay.
There was already an apartment before then, as both the testimony and the findings of that decision said, but the area where the apartment was upstairs was converted to restaurant preparation, to the deli preparation and storage use.
Understood, okay. And just regarding the parking reduction, I know everyone's very familiar with the parking issues in Woods Hole, and some businesses have special accommodations for their employees parking off-site somewhere. Are there any plans to help accommodate the employees of the business?
I'm not familiar with those arrangements. I do know that the landfall owners acquired a parking garage property, so they're in the position that they can both sell parking and have allocate parking. What they do with their employees, I don't know. Do you want to answer that?
Through the Woods Hole Business Association, we acquired, I think about 60 spots from the Steamship Authority, and the businesses split them. I presently, every year, I sign up for 4. We pay for them, each one, and our employees park there. I don't allow any of my employees to park on the street. They all park in the steamship lot or elsewhere, or they walk.
Great, thank you.
I wasn't aware of that arrangement with the Steamship Authority by the Woods Hole Business Association, so that's great to hear.
All right. Any other questions from the board?
No, but just so the chairman knows, so there was in 2014, Mr. Parrish did write a notation before the administrative review that he was not intending to use that special permit. And then in the administrative approval, it was shown that that permit was never exercised.
All right, very good. Thank you, Bob. All right, we'll turn it over to public comment. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from members of the public concerning this application? All right, not seeing any. Back to the board.
Move to close the hearing.
Second.
All right, motion to close by Jerry and second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken. And what would be the board's pleasure?
So I'd make a motion to have the administrator draft a approval for review, only because there's things in here that she's gonna have to adjust.
Aren't we waiting on something from
Well,
wastewater?
they are, on the 13th, they're gonna be, so we'll know about wastewater, but
Well, all right, so you're gonna plan to continue because you wanna wait to hear what the select board says.
or we could, when would our next date, our next date would
Do
be,
you really wanna close, because if there's something from the select board that you wanna discuss, you won't have the opportunity.
That's a good point.
She's right.
yeah.
Very good point.
You want to withdraw?
I could withdraw, but I mean, if they don't approve it, this doesn't go forward. But I'll withdraw, because I think that
Well,
might be.
we already did it, so how about a motion? to
A motion,
re-
I meant.
Reopen.
So
A
motion
motion
to
to
reopen.
reopen.
All right, so
Second.
motion to reopen made by
Sorry about
Jerry and second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, so passes unanimously. Hearing is back open.
Do we want to have some discussion on? I mean, we're all concerned about selectmen approval of the flow neutral bylaw, correct?
Right.
I mean, I think that would be, is there anything else? Liquor license, I don't know if that impacts us or not.
No, I don't think we should even get into the liquor
Yeah, we
license.
should-
No, I don't
we
want
should-
to, I just,
Yeah, let the select board deal with it.
I know, I agree, that's,
Yeah. Attorney Hammett?
Well, you reopened the hearing, so I get another chance, I guess.
Oh.
I'd like to
Time doesn't
suggest,
really- You don't have another 15 minutes, I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to suggest that, of course, we do need to go to the selectmen under the flow neutral bylaw, and you're absolutely right, we're not going to have a restaurant if it's not approved. But I think that you can make a decision that has a condition that is, or even just a finding, that use of the restaurant requires the variance under the flow neutral bylaw. I don't think it's necessary for you to hold up making your decision, and I think your decision would be helpful to the selectmen, and it would be helpful to us in going to the selectmen to be able to note that not only has the planning board reviewed the site plan review and approval, but that the zoning board of appeals has addressed the zoning issues. I don't think you need to address the wastewater issue because obviously there's a forum for that, but a finding or a condition should really cover it from your point of view.
Thank you, Attorney Hammett.
So I guess the question to the administrator, if we ask you to draft a positive decision, they're up for this on the 13th, we wouldn't even get to vote on that till after that anyways. Correct? I assume they don't make those decisions last forever on flow neutral. It's pretty,
Yeah, so here's your one issue is that now you're meeting on September 16, but you have a 40B decision to review that night. So I would not be able to have a draft for this for you for that night.
so what would the date be?
Ooh, the 23rd's kind of heavy. I mean, I think if you're just holding it up for the flow neutral decision.
Well, I don't know if there's anything else once we do our findings and our conditions that we may want to discuss to add in or.
I mean, I don't know, do you need a draft in advance, or do you want to just continue the hearing and then?
Then approve it that night if it's approvable.
Can I make a suggestion? I mean, this seems to be cut forward. Could we go ahead, approve it, subject to the selectmen? If the selectmen don't approve it, it doesn't go forward. If they do approve it, it's granted. With any conditions we put in it tonight. I mean, this is going on for 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know how much longer it would take to get a signature.
Right. I think part of Bob's concern was just getting the correct language, not
Everything in
only,
there without,
not only the flow neutral, but
we have to refer to previous decisions, we have to refer to the Mass State architectural access, we have to go
That's
over the
true.
reasons for the parking.
Can I throw out this, and it's gotten relatively late in the year. If it takes 3 weeks or 4 weeks for the decision to get signed, it's not going to make any difference to the project. So my suggestion is that you direct the administrator to prepare a motion, and when it's convenient for you to sign it, and whether that's in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, that will work. Thank you.
so would we like to leave the hearing open pending the results of the select board and make a motion to direct Noreen to draft a positive decision for
I
our
mean, the other thing you
review,
got the-
and we can just include the flow neutral language at that meeting?
That sounds acceptable, Bob. I mean, if they're not,
I
they're
mean,
not
I mean,
pressing the build time.
if you're drafting it anyways and you're putting a condition on it, whether, if they don't get the flow neutral anyways, even our decision's not gonna mean anything.
That's true.
All we're changing is the
We're-
zoning aspect.
yeah,
The-
we're gonna
the
put that in
selectmen
as a
still have to
condition.
license,
So
liquor
I-
license or deal with the.
Yeah, so I think we go forward with at least a drafting a positive decision. I just don't wanna list out everything tonight that,
And I think as Mr. Mon said, it's important to note of the selectmen that we have a positive recommendation subject to their approval, to the zoning issues.
I don't even think we need to make it subject to that, just to put it in as a condition or contingent, just list
We just make it
list as a
subject to-
condition. Doesn't have to be a contingent, but I think taking, giving a positive motion, I think going forward would be helpful. I would agree.
It'd be cleaner
it'd be
cleaner that way.
Yeah,
Positive
but getting the language
Sure.
right, I think,
Yeah.
is important.
it's the language right. So I guess I would still go through with the motion to have the administrator draft a positive decision. We can go over some of the issues with it tonight and then get the next date, but we have to close again, right?
Well, do we want to keep it open pending?
So my opinion is, I don't think it makes a difference, because if we don't keep it open and they don't get it, our decision is gonna be contingent on that anyways.
That's true.
But we have to have, if we don't have it open, we have to reopen it to close it. I think we're getting into the weeds.
I don't think we can leave
Already?
it open and have a draft.
I mean, I think the only problem is, right, if you close it, then you can't discuss it further.
We can't keep it open and have you start drafting, so we might as well just continue.
Why not? Excuse me. Why couldn't she continue to draft it? We all know what the issues are. You just expedite things. They don't get it, we know what our action's gonna be. They do get it,
Because we can't start drafting these on an open hearing.
why not?
Because you have to draft decisions, you have to do the motions, you have to list everything out. You have to close the hearing first.
Prior to this, you said draft subject to Noreen writing up all the
Yes, but we
administrivia.
close the hearing, then we make the motion to have her do her draft, and then she starts the draft, and then we discuss it at the next. That's what we've always done, everything else.
I'll defer to
And
the
they're not
chairman.
time sensitive. They've already,
No.
through testimony, said they're not time sensitive.
All right.
What's the cleanest way
Yeah,
to allow us to do this without having to come back to it, Noreen?
that's it. Nothing.
I mean,
To close and then direct her to,
absolutely.
Okay.
So, all this discussion, I mean, we all know what has to happen.
I guess I will make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second again.
all right, motion to close the hearing made by Jerry, second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken.
And then I'd make a motion for the administrator to draft a positive decision.
Very good.
I'll second.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Sorry, Scott, I didn't want to cut you off. I didn't know if Bob was going to keep speaking.
I'm sorry?
It's
Bob
okay.
was going to keep speaking, I was like,
Well, I'm used to you sitting here. I didn't,
We're rearranged.
Yeah.
We need to get used to it. All right.
All right,
Help
so,
with all the findings?
yeah, so 243C, 240-18.1, enlisted it's a multi-use, it's a restaurant and a market/deli. 240-51D,
yep.
and then put,
There's a slight increase in lot coverage.
Well, on 24051D on the restaurant, I guess right now we would say that it's a rating of a Class 2 restaurant. But if anything in the scores change, it could be a Class 1.
If we put that in there, they're gonna have to come back here if it changes.
No, you have to, that's what the rating was submitted, so that's all you can go by. It's a 205, we can't call it a Class 1 unless he changes one of the scores. So you have to go with the Class 2, but if he does eventually eliminate, like you said, recycling materials, then it would drop him down, so it allows him to have a 1 or a 2.
Applicant's representative stated that it would be no increase in deliveries.
Now, under 240-107B, with the parking reduction, we're gonna have to list there maybe some of the other options for shared parking in Woods Hole, because we have to have something else to show that there's other parking available.
You want to put in the findings that Mr. Parrish uses that, the parking, shared parking at the steamship?
Yep, you could mention that was part of the testimony.
And 107B specifically mentions the board's determination of special circumstances, so I think that sort of.
So we have to
business
list those, yeah.
would definitely help.
And we'd have to
What do we put
also-
as Woods Hole?
Yeah,
That, we'd list that too,
Off-street
listed special circumstances for the area, but then you have to show that there's other things available, so then we can list the other parking lot and what he stated in his testimony as special circumstances. Refer to the revised plan regarding revised 82521 for that walkway and rear steps, which then takes it out of conservation purview. You'll have to mention the conservation referral was for the old plan.
Site plan approval by the planning board.
Although I think that conservation may still review it. I think what they're saying is if they extended further, conservation would not allow that, but if they do any disturbance at the ground level, conservation.
Didn't they make that adjustment?
So we'll just say
The
they made
Attorney
the
Ahmed said
adjustment.
that they adjusted that with the building commissioner concern.
So the new structure coverage is going from 74.3 to 76.2. Structures, parking, and paving, 78.3 to 80.2. And that's well under the 90% allowed. Also regarding the seating, currently there were 69 seats being used as a courtesy for customers of the Market Deli. They're looking for an approval of 67 seats, which is a reduction by 2. And 18 of those seats, which are inside second floor, would be designated for restaurant use only. All others would be shared.
No additional exhaust venting on the roof, already existing.
Then you'll have to refer to the Commonwealth of Mass Architectural Division of Access Board. There are a couple of conditions in there that they have regarding accessibility. We can list in their findings what they've mentioned in the application regarding liquor service, but then list that the zoning board isn't making any decisions on liquor service. They'd have to get a liquor license and go before the selectmen.
But I think it's important to put through testimony that the businesses on either side accept liquor deliveries right there in the event that they do, they get approved.
Yeah, we can list that.
So there's already language in the decision.
Circling back to the parking reduction, I know testimony of the owner said, mentioned the bike racks. That's encouraging
Yes.
alternative
Green
transportation.
transportation.
Wouldn't want to condition it being, but at least as a finding.
Yeah, and the only issue with the bike racks, and it's fine if they get something that's stated, but it's actually in this thing that says you can't put anything there between 6 AM and 6 PM, and it's shared for the area. So I don't know if those can be relocated or not, but we'll leave that up to the,
Just leave that to the police or the DPW.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why it was,
they're working it out
It's
now.
not split hairs about.
that's why I was staying away from
In
conditioning
terms
it.
of findings for the parking, the area is serviced by the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, shared use
Oh,
bike
yeah.
path,
steamship shuttle.
steamship
We won't
authority
be any
shuttle.
more restricted than it already is.
Put in there that the restaurant will be closed during lunch service. Put in there the 18 letters and the
800,
848 signatures of people in the area.
no opposition, no public comment in opposition.
Put in there that the apartment was eliminated, because that's in the last decision.
The proposed change in commercial activities in keeping with several other businesses within a 500-foot radius.
All right, anything else for findings?
No, I think that's pretty much.
All right, conditions?
So there'll be per revised plans. Also subject to conditions of the Mass Architectural Access Board that's submitted.
Approval by the Board of Selectmen for flow neutral.
Yeah, they must get a variance for the flow neutral bylaw. I put that the 18 inside seats upstairs are restaurant use only.
How was that enforced? Never mind.
Hours of construction,
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Is there anything in the site plan review that we have to, they have their own enforcement capability, right? Site plan review.
Planning board has their own, and our, we didn't get really much from,
So we don't have to incorporate anything of it.
we didn't get anything from, much from engineering at all. Didn't get anything from water.
Do you want to do anything about police detail during construction? Is that an issue in that area?
Yeah, they'll have to do something.
that's
'cause you got-
everything they do have police details down there. I mean, I'm sure, if they want to
Yeah.
get anything done, they'll have people down there.
Right.
If you need
Yeah,
to-
so
They have the space with that loading dock, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's tight down there for sure.
I mean, let's face it, they've perfected how to do things down on that little stretch of road. They do it different, and we let them do it different.
That's correct.
It's always been that. They know what the peak hours are, they know when to do this, when to order their deliveries.
All right, anything else for conditions?
We'll put in the soil erosion sediment control standards, because the engineering put that in for planning.
I don't know if this address will get a separate address for 911 purposes or not, but the standard language.
Yeah, we usually do that comment, but they didn't ask for one, so.
Don't bother them.
All right, anything else for conditions?
I'm just double checking. No, I think that's good.
All right, so that was a motion directing Noreen to draft a positive decision. That was made by Bob and seconded by Scott, and what's a good date?
So there's not a specific urgency for,
Want to put a date in just for,
Don't give her next year.
say, 3 or 4 weeks, whatever, yeah. If it could be all 5 minutes, if everything's positive from the selectmen.
I guess I'd suggest either October 7 or 21. I mean, I think you.
You good for the 7th?
It's pretty much done.
All right, so let's go, continue with the 7th.
All right, so, motion directing Maureen to draft a positive decision made by Bob and Scott with the continuation date of October 7th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Freddie Outman, thank you. All right, up next, we have application 60-21, Bonnie Trustees, 50 Loop Road in West Falmouth, requesting a special permit to construct in addition to the second floor of the non-conforming dwelling.
All right, so application number 6-21, Susan C. and Peter J. Bonney, trustees, 50 Loop Road, West Falmouth, Mass., have applied to the zoning board of appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to construct in addition to second floor of the non-conforming single-family dwelling on subject property known as 50 Loop Road, West Falmouth, Mass. For referrals.
Is that the 243C was the only one?
What?
243C was the only one?
Yeah, it's the only one, just the non-conforming. Conservation Commission voted a negative determination for request for determination of applicability, approving the reference project. They attached their permit. From engineering, application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Loop Road is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require filing a permit with the engineering division. Any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. The project does not direct any stormwater runoff to public property abutters or public rights-of-way. Fire department has no issues with the project as drawn. Assessors have no comment. From the health department, the office addition shows a cased opening, which would not count as a bedroom. There appears to be no increase in bedrooms over the 3 existing, so health has no issues with the project. Planning board, no comment. Water, no comment. Here's a letter from Stephen Weinig. To whom it may concern, I cannot attend the hearing scheduled for September 9, 2021, but ask that the Zoning Board of Appeals accept this letter in support of the proposed addition to the second floor of 50 Loop Road. And the address shows Stephen Weinig and Wendy Hanna, 64 Loop Road, Falmouth, Mass. Letter from Louis Stern at 49 Loop Road. Dated August 24th. To the Zoning Board of Appeals, I contact you in my capacities as the president of the Sippawisset Place, in which Susan and Peter Bonney live at 50 Loop Road, and as their neighbor directly across the street. Sippawisset Place's Architectural Review Committee is required by our bylaws to review and approve any external changes to be made to any property in Sippawisset Place, which is Loop and Place Roads. As president, I serve as the chair of that committee. We reviewed and approved their changes to be reviewed and approved by the town. The Bonnies are very long-term responsible in caring homeowners in Sippawisset Place. We find their plans to be very much within our guidelines and strongly support their application to the town for approval of their plans. As their immediate neighbor, I am also very pleased and support their plans as well. Again, Louis Stern. And that is it.
All right, and for the applicant, we have Attorney Clower.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Clower. I'm an attorney here in Falmouth, and I represent the applicants, Susan and Peter Bonney, the owners of 50 Loop Road. Ms. Bonney is here with us this evening. They are seeking permission to alter the existing non-conforming dwelling on this site. 50 Loop Road is located in the Sippawisset Place neighborhood, which is just off of Sippawisset Road, abutting Little Sippawisset Marsh. This particular lot is 15,458 square feet of upland in a residential B zoning district, and it is located in the AE 15 flood zone. Presently, there's a 3-bedroom, single-family dwelling with a footprint of 2,917 square feet. It's non-conforming with regards to the setback to the 4-foot contour of the tidal waters of Buzzards Bay. That is the only non-conformity. It otherwise complies with all setback and lot coverage requirements. The applicants have owned this property since 1983 and have fairly recently made it their full-time residence. They're seeking to make improvements so they can adequately see to their needs. Specifically, they're adding a new dormer, which will allow for the creation of a home office without taking away from existing space within the building. Mr. Bonney has recently retired and become an author. He's actually published 2 books, and he's currently working from a corner of his bedroom, and really appreciate having an office in the house. And this is really the only place that allows for it without detracting from the rest of the footprint. This proposed addition is entirely within the existing footprint. The ridge height will be in line with the existing ridge, which is 23 feet 6 inches, well below the 35 that's allowed by right. The lot coverage by structure will remain conforming at 18.9%, and there's no change in the number of bedrooms. As was noted in the health referral, the doorway to the office is a cased opening, which will not be an increase in bedrooms. There's no effect on the existing nonconformity, and there's no new setback that will be created. If this lot was slightly larger, in fact, if it was 20,000 square feet, I don't think it would require a special permit at all, but because it's 15,000 and change of upland, it does require a special permit. The FEMA worksheet was submitted showing that the proposal does not constitute a substantial improvement. It's well under the 50%, and that's of the assessed value. That wasn't without a separate appraisal, that was just the town's assessed value. Section 243C of the bylaw states that non-conforming pre-existing structures may be changed by special permit, provided that they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. The board is asked to consider the standards of 240, 216, and whether or not that alteration creates any new dimensional nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and whether it reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. Here, as was stated, there's no new nonconformity created. The existing nonconformity is entirely unaffected. The ridge height is not increased. There's no change to the number of bedrooms. There's no impact on views and vistas. And it is similar, with the roof line being similar to the style and size of the existing roof. And as is noted in the correspondence by the president of the association, this is in line with nearby homes and fits within their guidelines. This project, as proposed, is an improvement to the utility and design of the house for the applicants, and it really has no adverse effects relative to zoning. As stated, there's no effect on the existing nonconformity, and we're not creating a new one. This meets the standards of 243C and 240-216. I can't think of a reason why the board shouldn't approve this, but I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have at this time.
Thank you, Attorney Clower. Jerry, any questions?
No question.
Scott?
No, sir.
Bob?
No questions.
James?
Don't mess it up, James.
Don't want to break a rule.
No questions from me either. So public comment, any questions, comments, or concerns from members of the public regarding this application? All right, seeing none, back to the board.
Motion to close?
Second.
Motion to close by Bob. I'll give the second to James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken. What would be the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve with conditions?
Second.
All right. Bob and James again. Findings?
240-3C, 240-216, it meets all standards. No change in footprint, no change in ridge height. Structure, no change in coverage, which is 18.9.
The only nonconformity remains the same.
No new nonconformities?
No new nonconformities, no bedroom change. It's a 3-bedroom, remaining a 3.
FEMA worksheet was submitted.
FEMA worksheet was written, it's well under the 50% of the town assessment figure, which is great.
Testimony from the applicant's counsel is the area is to be used as a home office.
Yep, it's an AE 13 floodplain.
In keeping with the neighborhood.
Approved by neighborhood association.
Yeah, and the only nonconformity really is the distance to the 4-foot contour of Buzzards Bay. In here it says Wild Harbor, but it is Buzzards Bay.
Cased opening on that office too.
Yes.
Yep.
I come from Scott, right?
And on that contour, it's 42.3 feet where 50 is required.
All right, anything else for findings?
That's plenty.
There is.
No, put that they had some neighbor support. There was no one that spoke against.
All right, conditions?
For plans, home to remain a 3-bedroom.
And the standard building hours and.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's about it. There's no keep them all like this.
All right.
You heard him.
I'm done for the night. It's not up to me.
Yeah, good.
All right, so if we're all set, there was a motion to approve with the conditions made by Bob, second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Attorney Clower, thank you.
Thank you all very much. We really appreciate your time and consideration on this.
Okay, up next, we have application 61-21, Mellow, 19 John Parker Road in East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to allow a detached garage exceeding 900 square feet in size.
So application 61-21, Richard R. Mello Jr., 19 John Parker Road, East Falmouth, Mass., has applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 24023G1B of the Code of Falmouth to allow a detached garage exceeding 900 square feet in size on subject property known as 19 John Parker Road, East Falmouth, Mass. From engineering, application was reviewed for impacts to public rights of way and public utilities. John Parker Road is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require filing a permit with the engineering division. 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. 4, we recommend the board add a condition that requires addition of dry wells or storm infiltration measures for the new roof area at a minimum. Conservation has no comment at this time. Project appears to fall outside of conservation jurisdiction. Fire department has no issues with the project as drawn. Health has no issues with project. From the water department, from Cathal, if the proposed garage is to have water, the main and service must be on the plans. It will also have to have a separate water service if it is to have water. This would include a new meter inside the proposed garage. If water service is not proposed to the garage, we have no comments at this time. Planning board, no comments. And no letters.
All right, and for the applicant?
Hello, my name is Rick Mello, from 19 John Parker Road. This is my wife Sharon. We just purchased the property a year and a half ago, and we're looking to put up a garage on the back end of the property. The property is 37,000 square feet, 37,802 square feet. The purpose of the garage is for my cars. I have a bunch of old cars that I want to put in the garage. As of right now, there's going to be no water, no electricity to it, no nothing. It's just a simple two-bay garage. It's 28 by 40. And we meet all the setbacks, but the only thing we didn't meet, which I didn't realize, was the square footage. I went over the square footage. So at that point there, I decided, well, let's continue doing it and see what happens. So that's the gist of it, you know. It's very simple. It's hopefully we can do it. Regarding the water, we got wells on the outside corners that were just done. He just did that for me because we just got the watershed, the engineer department. Yeah, the engineer department asked for that.
All right. Do you want to turn it to board questions then, or?
I'm within the structure, proposal, existing coverage, lot coverage, and all that stuff. So I guess it's up to you, Dale. Right? Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. James, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Bob?
So the only question is, so you have marked on here dirt access drive, so is that something you're gonna put in and that will be pervious?
I'm sorry, what?
You've got on the plan that's gonna have a dirt access driveway?
Well, what it is, yeah, it's lawn. It's lawn. And because we're not using the garage every single day like a normal car, we wanted to keep the lawn there. And just, I have a 1926 Model T. So I just want to put in there, and it stays in there for 8 months of the year, and I bring it out for parades, and,
So you're not gonna put in any kind of an approved driveway at this point? You're just gonna use
no,
it as is?
no.
That's fine. The only question I had.
All right. What other cars do you have besides the Model
I
T?
have a 68 Mustang,
Nice.
a 60 Willys Jeep, and a 71 Volkswagen Common Gear, which is hers.
Sounds like you'll have plenty of space for him then.
I just like playing with cars, you know, I've always grown up around cars.
Excellent.
None of them go over 40 miles an hour. They're all too old.
All right, Scott, any questions?
That small commercial vehicle there that was out front, that's your work vehicle?
That's my work vehicle, yes. I still work on the vineyard.
There's no plans, there's no home-based business, there's no
No,
t-shirts
no,
out there?
no, that's on within
All
vineyard,
right,
yeah.
just trying to
Yeah,
get on the record.
yeah.
All right, that's all.
All right,
Thank you,
Jared?
Mr. Chairman.
No questions.
And two more questions from me. Slab construction for
Yes,
the garage?
yes. It's on the other plan. I don't know how to get, yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's, that was all redone. The building inspector, asked for that. It's,
No, it's okay. We have the hard copies.
oh,
here.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no worries.
Okay,
Just making sure getting that on record.
Yeah.
And obviously, no sleeping, no habitable space being proposed.
nope, I know, none of that. It's just a one-story garage.
As silly as the question is, we do have to check the box just with.
Oh, yes, I understand that.
Yep.
I understand that.
All right. Anything else from the board? All right, members of the public, any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this project? Not seeing any.
Chairman, make motion to close.
All right, motion to close made by Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. The hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve,
With condition.
with conditions.
Second.
All right, motion approved with conditions made by Scott and seconded by James. Findings.
240-23 G1B,
243 GB1.
GB1.
You're close. 240-216 meets the standards. I'll take a couple. Garages for car storage only. It's a 28 by 40 garage with a 1510 ridge height.
No heat, no water,
No heat, no water,
no
no
living.
habitable space, and no improved driveway. Meets the setbacks and lot coverage. They're just here because it's a detached garage.
What was the condition about, or I'm sorry, what was the testimony about dry wells?
In that there are dry wells now on the plan, so for the roof runoff for the garage.
And that drive is well clear of the septic, so H20 doesn't apply.
Mhm. Anything else for findings?
No, we just put it there here just because the garage is over 900 square feet.
No opposition. Neighbors or otherwise.
No plan, based business out of it.
Yeah, no home occupation.
All right, conditions?
Per plans with the dry wells, no habitable space. No water service, no heat.
All right, so if that does it, the motion will approve.
Hold on one second.
Yep.
Even though it was proposed, no heat, no electricity to it, you would have to come back if they decided later on?
Yeah, they pretty much have to come back anyways, because if he starts, like, if he decided to put heat in it,
So why would we condition that? If he has no plans right now, could we just make a mention of the fact that that's what it was? Because that's not a really big deal to run electric service out there, so they can.
oh, no, I didn't
apply.
actually say electric, I just said no water, no heat. Because once you get heat, then you get into issues with the health department.
Okay, all right. Well,
And I
I
have to
just
put-
want to make
yeah,
sure
yeah,
that he's
and I-
allowed to put.
And I have to put the water in there, because they said if he puts water, then there's a whole other set of.
I got
conditions
you.
we have to throw in.
I just want to restrict him from power.
You can only go in the daytime.
Oh, sometimes guys sleep
Or
with their
night with
cars,
a
right?
flashlight, there's flashlights, you can get a
All
generator.
about it. right?
All right, so that was a motion to approve with conditions.
She's not gonna kick me out.
But at least you have a place to go.
Plenty of space back there.
Right, yeah.
All right, so that was a motion to approve with conditions made by Scott, second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank
Good luck,
you.
Mr. Mello.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Take 5 minutes. Are we good? Are we taking,
We can probably rip this
what
one
do we
out.
got
and
left? We got one more, right?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do
Then
that,
we can do a quick break before
Yeah.
the other
Sure,
one.
we can do that.
before we start that other one.
All right, up next, we have application 62-21, McDermott trustee, 30 Harrington Street in T-Ticket, requesting a special permit to construct a dormer to the second floor, remove existing deck, and construct a screened porch.
So application 62-21, Adele F. McDermott, trustee, 30 Harrington Street, T-Ticket, Mass. Has applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to construct a dormer to the second floor, remove the existing deck, and construct a screen porch on subject property known as 30 Harrington Street, T-Ticket, Mass. For referrals, Concom, proposed project does not appear to be located within conservation jurisdiction. Engineering, application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Harrington Street is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require filing a permit with the engineering division. 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. 4, we recommend board add a condition that requires the addition of dry wells or stormwater infiltration measures for the new roof. Portions of the existing post and rail fence are located in the town right-of-way, which typically requires a license for the Board of Selectmen. From assessors, this includes lots 82 and 83. From the Water Department, the water service and main must be shown on the plans if not already there. There is an existing 3/4-inch service tied into a 6-inch main in Harrington Street. The existing service will have to be upgraded to a 1-inch if the water demand is to increase due to the proposed work. If the service is upgraded, the water meter must be installed inside the home, if not there already. Planning, no comment. Fire Department has no issues with the project as drawn. A lot coverage bulk calculation sheet was submitted. And no other letters, so.
All right. For the applicant, Ms. McDermott?
Good evening, everybody. My name's Adele McDermott. I'm at 30 Harrington Street in T-Ticket, and I am asking for a special permit to put a dormer on my home so I can add a second bathroom and extend the existing bedrooms that are there, as well as actually take down the existing deck that is there now and put in a screened-in or walled-in porch, and take the outside shower and move it closer to the bulkhead area. It's not, this proposal is actually not adding a tremendous amount to the footprint. The reason I'm here for a special permit is because the lot is 4,800 feet, and the existing structures are already over the 20% allowed on the lot. This particular redesign would add a 0.01% to that, and I am hoping that that will be approved because of the terrible situation we are in with COVID-19. I've had to work from home since last March, and going up and down those stairs are a little rough for me now. So I'm hoping that this can be done and I can really build my dream home for retirement.
All right. Would you like to turn it to board questions then?
Please.
All right, thank you. Let's see. James, anything?
No questions.
Okay. Bob?
Is the property on town sewer?
Yes, it is.
And how many bedrooms currently exist?
4.
And then it's just remaining at 4, correct?
Correct.
Were there dry wells on the plan? Let me just check. No, I don't see any. So you'd be amenable to add gutters and dry wells for the roof runoff?
Oh, yes.
Nope, that's all the question I have.
All right, Scott?
Mr. McDermott, you, in testimony, you had mentioned you were moving the shower. You didn't mean that, right? You meant the rinse station, right?
I did, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's
I don't know
good.
the lingo,
All right.
sorry.
You do, hey, you do now. Okay, that's all I had, sir.
We knew what you meant.
Yep.
Jerry, anything?
This is, you're not gonna be doing any home-based business. You're just working at home, but you're not
Oh,
doing.
yeah, no, I work for a hospital, but work from home.
And your existing shed, generator, and AC unit will all be remaining in place?
Yes.
All right.
And are you aware on the property where the fence crosses the town line? Did they mark it at all?
Yeah,
or-
that came up when the sewer was put in, but I wasn't told that I had to remove it or anything, that I might have to. And I'd be agreeable to that if
Yep, that'd be
I
great.
was asked to.
Fantastic.
Sounds good. All right. Anything else from the board?
Sir?
All right, public comment, any questions, comments, or concerns? Anyone out there? All right, back to the board.
Motion closed.
Second?
Motion to close made by Scott, second by Jerry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken. And as for the board's pleasure?
Motion approved with conditions?
Second.
All right. Motion approved with conditions made by Bob, second by James. Any findings?
240-3C, all the standards of 240-216. It includes lots 82 and 83. Applicant will be adding a dormer, removing a deck and adding a screen porch, and relocating the rinse station.
Received the lot calculation sheet.
Yeah, I just want to check something, because there's an error on the calculations. Yeah, so the current lot coverage is going from 22.3 to only 22.4. It's minimal. And it's well within the range on the rest of the street with the bulk. Applicant's amenable to adding dry wells for the additions,
Moving the fence if
and also
necessary.
removing the portion of the fence that's in the town road layout, or applicant could choose to get a license from the selectmen.
Did you understand that? So you can request a license from the select board to maintain the fence if you would like to.
Okay.
If they grant you that license, you're able to maintain the fence. If they don't grant it, you would have to remove it. So the choice is up to you. If you want to keep it, you just ask them for that.
Thank you.
Property is on the LPSSA sewer system and is connected. If there's any modifications to that connection because of the construction, they would have to
Gotta come inside.
go over that
anyway
with the
if it's not
wastewater
done.
department.
Mr. Tamus's comment about no home-based business should be part of those findings, right?
Yeah, the chief.
She's working from home, but it's not a home-based business.
Okay.
Water upgrade.
With the existing bedroom count?
Yeah, so the bedrooms is 4 bedrooms remaining, 4 bedrooms, and 4 bedrooms is the max allowed on the LPSSA.
In keeping with the neighborhood, not more detrimental.
Cancels the utilization of the property for the applicant.
Yep.
No letters of opposition, no opposition testimony at the day of hearing.
Said she was moving the rinse station.
Yeah, we got that.
Anything else for findings?
No, that's good.
Conditions?
So per revised plans, which show dry wells, we'll need to revise the plans. Put in the info regarding the water department in case the service isn't up to standard.
And that lot coverage, sorry to interrupt you, Bob, that lot coverage is correct on the plans, right? I know through the
Yeah, it's
initial-
like point.
Yeah, it's point
point
one.
Did we
Point-
put
point
that there
one.
was, in the findings, there was no increase in height with the dormer?
Yeah, that's fine.
It was in there?
Will be now.
It is now?
Okay.
Property is 4 bedrooms and limited to 4 bedrooms.
Anything else for conditions?
No, I know we put in findings, but in conditions, I know wastewater uses that line if something gets moved, because where she has her service on the plans, it looks like the construction entrance, whatever that is, throw that in. That if it needs to be modified or changed, they have to notify them.
All right, so if that does it,
Construction hours.
all right. Anything else?
No.
All right, so that was a motion to approve with conditions made by Bob and second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Ms. McDermott, good luck.
Luck.
Thank you very much. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I want to shout out to Ashley, she was wonderful.
She is, isn't she?
She was wonderful. All of my questions answered, and so kindly. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, 5-minute break?
Sure.
All right, we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll be right back. right, so we are coming back. I'll give FCTV a second to catch up with us. Right, so we've completed our new hearings on the agenda, onto our open meeting items. First, we have voting the minutes from July 29th, 2021, and August 5th, 2021.
I think we are tabling minutes.
Tabling both, or,
I think so.
okay. Tabling both for next time. Up next, we have reviewing the draft decision with a vote anticipated for 33-21 Falmouth Housing Trust, Inc., 55 Lewis Neck Road in East Falmouth. Voting members on this project were myself, Scott Zelinski, Bob Dugan, Ed Van Kuren, and James Morse. Since Ed is not with us tonight, it'll be the four of us. And since it is a 40B, all we need is a simple majority vote.
So then I'll just go through the findings.
Got a quick
Yep.
question. I think Noreen was saying no. I had thought, even as a non-voting member for this decision, I could offer comments for the board to consider.
I would say you can't because you weren't a sitting member when the hearings were being held. Noreen, is that your understanding?
Right,
Okay.
so, yeah, so you haven't been a member and you haven't been present for the hearings.
Okay.
Okay, so starting with the findings. So finding number one, according to the last published subsidized housing inventory, SHI, by the Department of Housing and Community Development, DHCD, dated December 21st, 2020, the town of Falmouth has 7.2% affordable housing. The town does not satisfy any of the statutory and regulatory exemption thresholds outlined in Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B and 780 CMR 56. 2, the December 2018 Housing Production Plan, HPP, for the town of Falmouth identified the need for affordable housing, including home ownership opportunities and barrier-free units. The HPP established a production goal of 256 affordable units over the next 5 years, emphasizing the shortage which threatens the character and viability of the community and labeling it a crisis. 3, the subject site is located at 55 Lewis Neck Road, East Falmouth, Massachusetts, Assessors Map 40, 03001C, 002C. The premises, which is sited in a single residence C zoning district and comprises 49,283 square feet of area, which is 1.13 acres, in the Great Pond and Green Pond Coastal Pond Overlay District, the Flood Zone X, with a small portion of the premises sited within the Search and Rescue Overlay District. The premises has 112.7 feet of frontage on Lewis Neck Road and is approximately 384 feet deep. 4, the topography ranges from 26.3 feet northeasterly area to 22.7 feet southwest area, spanning approximately 400 feet, resulting in a relatively level lot. 5, there is an existing driveway access on the premises to the dwelling to the north, 51 Lewis Neck Road, which was Mayor McDade. The lot to the south is currently unimproved, Fender, and the lot to the west rear is 34 Harborview, Donahue, the last dwelling unit on the street. 6, the proposed seeks the grant of a comprehensive permit for the construction of three-bedroom, two-bathroom detached single-family dwellings, 2 of which will be affordable to purchasers earning no more than 80% of the area median income, AMI, for Barnstable County. 1 unit is proposed to be sold at 100% of the AMI, which tier of affordability is commonly referred to as workforce housing, and is also sold below market rate. While this single unit at 100% AMI is not eligible for inclusion on the town's subsidized housing inventory, SHI, the 2 units capped at 80% AMI will be eligible for inclusion in the town's SHI. The 3 proposed units represent a decrease from the reported original concept of 4 dwellings on the premises. 7, Lot 1, sited most proximate to Lewis Neck Road, easterly area of the total premises, is proposed to comprise 10,104 square feet of area. Lot 2, sited to the southerly side of the total premises, is proposed to comprise 11,321 square feet of area. Lot 3, sited to the west of Lot 1, is proposed to comprise of 12,044 square feet of area. The westerlymost portion of the total premises, comprising 15,872 square feet of area, is proposed to remain as open space, remain naturally vegetated, and not be developed. There will be a 10-foot wide vegetated buffer at the northerly lot line of Lot 1, and a 5-foot wide buffer at the northerly lot line for Lot 3. The density would be 2.65 units per acre. 8, The applicant has met the requirements to file for a comprehensive permit. The applicant has control of the land ownership deed filed with Barnstable County on December 18, 2019, has been issued a project eligibility letter from the Massachusetts Housing dated September 23, 2020, and is a nonprofit organization. December 26, 1991 IRS letter indicating 501c3 organization, and December 15, 2020 Commonwealth of Massachusetts letter certifying the domestic corporation pursuant to Mass General Laws 40B regulations. 9, the Housing Assistance Corporation has been identified as the lottery agent. 10, the May 6, 2021 memorandum of the Assistant Town Manager expressed support, including financial, from the Select Board for the proposal. 11, the May 6, 2021 email from the health agent accepted the compliant Title V septic system shown by the engineer in project site plans. 12, the May 5, 2021 email of the water superintendent indicated that an 8-inch main was installed in 2000 and that 3 services should not be an issue. 13, the Conservation Commission issued no comment, identifying that the proposal was not within their jurisdiction. On May 5, 2021, the fire department reported no additional comments as access was resolved. There is an existing fire hydrant on the same side of the street as the proposal. 15, engineering issued a zoning board of appeals review dated April 20, 2021 with comments. It was specified that the town would provide snow removal for Lewis Neck Road and that trash would be picked up at the end of the subject driveways on Lewis Neck Road. 16, engineering noted that Lot 1 would be assigned the address of 55 Lewis Neck Road. Access will be via gravel driveway with 2 9-foot by 18-foot gravel parking spaces. Lot 2 will be addressed as 59 Lewis Neck Road, and Lot 3 will be 57 Lewis Neck Road. Access to these 2 lots will be via a 12-foot wide shared gravel driveway, and each lot will have 2 9-foot by 18-foot gravel parking spaces. All addresses will be properly posted and lot monumentation be installed. 17, the Affordable Housing Committee issued a support letter, date stamped received April 30th, 2021. 18, the Housing Coordinator issued an email dated April 29, 2021 in support of the proposal and noting that the proposal meets the needs identified within the town's housing production plan. 19, the premises is subject to the covenant between the town and the applicant executed December 6, 2019, which was recorded with the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds at Book 32557, page 117. The covenant was for the work required to comply with the terms and conditions of the determination of access, November 21st, 2019, which had not yet been done, and created an agreement with respect to endorsement of the A&R plan and the issuance of a building permit for one by right single-family dwelling pursuant to the Falmouth zoning bylaw. The covenant provided a building permit shall not be issued for a single-family residential structure on parcel C2 by the Falmouth Building Commissioner until the terms and conditions of the determination of access, Exhibit A, have been met as set forth in Section 240-179-1C, permits of the Falmouth zoning bylaw. A building permit was issued on April 10, 2020 for one single-family dwelling on the premises after the work required by the covenant to secure the building permit was completed by the applicant. 20, the September 23, 2020 project eligibility letter from Colin M. McNeese, General Counsel, Mass Housing, noted that the project appears eligible under the program and also noted in a footnote that while the covenant does not impact the determination of project eligibility by Mass Housing pursuant to the comprehensive permit rules, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court confirmed in the case of Wells versus City of Newton that the property restriction held by a municipality cannot be overridden by ZBA acting on a comprehensive permit. 21, the April 14, 2021 memorandum of the town planner reported that the planning board voted a determination of access for the subject lot on November 26, 2019. On a second application, an A&R plan was endorsed to remove the note not a buildable lot, as shown on August 9, 2011 Pildes plan, prepared by Warwick and Associates, taking the position that the applicant agreed to enter into a covenant restricting the premises to one single-family home. This memorandum was further updated on June 7, 2021. The planning board supported one dwelling on the premises and did not support release of the covenant. 22, the town planner also took the position that a release of the covenant referenced above would require a vote of the select board to place an article on the warrant and for town meeting to approve the release. 23, Attorney Moynihan asserted that the referenced access determination was requested from the planning board for one by right single-family dwelling, as legally that would be all that could be developed as of right in a single-family residential zone pursuant to the zoning bylaw without a comprehensive permit issued to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, allowing multiple dwellings. She asserted that the covenant does not need to be removed or released, that it is not a restriction on the land as was determined in the Wells versus City of Newton case, or otherwise as it was an agreement between the applicant and the planning board for the applicant to complete certain work on Lewis Neck Road in exchange for a building permit for one single-family dwelling pursuant to the Falmouth zoning bylaw, and that it doesn't prevent multiple houses on the premises pursuant to comprehensive permit, and that the terms and conditions of the covenant were satisfied by issuance of a building permit on April 10th, 2020 by the town of Falmouth for one single-family dwelling. The ability to increase density for such a parcel would require the grant of a comprehensive permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. 24. The opinion issued by Peter L. Freeman, Freeman Law Group, LLC, 86 Willow Street, Yarmouthport, Mass., dated November 23, 2020, asserted that the covenant provides only that parcel C2, SIC, cannot obtain a building permit for a dwelling unless and until the conditions of the determination of access are satisfied. He stated that there is no language limiting or restricting the use to one single-family dwelling. The covenant only provides that the premises cannot obtain a building permit for a single-family dwelling unless the conditions of the determination of access are satisfied. He stated that the covenant is not a use restriction held by the municipality as the Wells case that must be released or modified in order for a zoning board to grant a comprehensive permit pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, allowing the premises to be used for the proposed affordable housing development with multiple homes. Such a restriction would require express language, which is not contained within the covenant. He stated that the covenant correlates to the determination of access and the endorsement of the A&R plan and ensures that the building commissioner shall not issue a permit for a single-family residential structure until the clearing of brush and the filling of potholes on Lewis Neck Road takes place, which has now been performed, and that under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, the ZBA has full authority to make the determination that the access is adequate for the proposal and to approve construction of multiple houses at the premises. Attorney Freeman summarized that there is no need to release or modify the covenant. 25. Lewis Neck Road has recently been improved with pavement to 18 feet in width and drainage installed. This road is partially sited on the subject premises. The board finds that the access and Lewis Neck Road are sufficient and adequate for the proposal and the three homes of the project. The board finds that the terms and conditions of the covenant have been satisfied as evidenced by issuance of the building permit on April 20th, 2020 by the town of Falmouth, and that no release, removal, or modification of the covenant is required. That the covenant is not a use restriction limiting construction at the premises to only one dwelling, and that the building and occupancy permits may issue for the three homes permitted by this comprehensive permit without further action with respect to the covenant. 26. The abutters to the proposal expressed concerns about the following. A, that per the covenant signed by the applicant and the town, the applicant is barred from building anything beyond a one single-family dwelling. B, that the planning board was misled regarding the applicant seeking to construct a single-family dwelling on the premises. C, the planning board voted not to endorse the proposal to the select board. D, that the site is not appropriate given the reduced lot size and frontage from a minimum requirement for the district. E, that 3 units would alter the character of the neighborhood and 3 dwellings on a 1-acre lot. F, the proposal would overburden the existing electrical system. G, that the proposal is unsafe for children due to the lack of sidewalks and street lighting. H, that there is no access to public transportation. I, that there may be damage to the roadway during construction. J, that there may be an issue with emergency vehicle access. I think this should be K.
Yes.
K, that the development, I got confused because K was crossed out. The development lighting may shine on the abutting parcels. The board finds that the site is adequate and appropriate, notwithstanding the reduced lot size and frontage for the minimum requirement for the district, that the 3 units will be in keeping with the lot sizes and character of the neighborhood, that there are no issues identified with the electrical utilities not being satisfactory, that Falmouth Fire and Rescue has indicated there are no public safety issues with Lewis Neck Road. The board finds that Lewis Neck Road will provide safe and adequate access for vehicle and pedestrian use for the residents of the 3 homes, and that this permit will be conditioned so as to prevent lighting from the homes shining on the abutting parcels. 27, the board was very sensitive to the nature of the neighborhood and to the change that the modest increase in density may bring. However, given the mandate of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, the Zoning Board of Appeals actions are constrained. The proposed density of the project is within the parameters of the town's approved housing production plan, which projected 4 units per acre and encouraged multifamily development. While the town has identified preferable locations for the affordable housing developments, the Zoning Board of Appeals cannot prohibit proposals on other properties that a developer may want to gain control of. The board upholds the premise that the affordable housing be interspersed within the community. The board is also keenly aware of the surge in market rate housing being developed, including a significant increase in prices paid, together with the raise and reconstruct of modest dwellings. This scenario further exacerbates the lack of opportunities for the lower or moderate income residents. The demand for affordable housing continues to rise, yet due to costs, very few are constructed. The few affordable units completed are subject to distribution via lottery due to the overwhelming demand, resulting in many families remaining without appropriate affordable housing. 28, the applicant estimated that the 2 Cape Cod-style 80% AMI affordable units would sell for approximately $230,000, and a single 100% AMI unit would sell for approximately $270,000. The units are expected to have a master bedroom and a bath on the first floor, and 2 bedrooms on the second floor. The basements will be unfinished. The dwellings are proposed to be 24 feet, 4 inches in height, and be heated by oil. 29, traditional Title V septics are proposed for each dwelling unit. The total number of bedrooms for the development will be 9, which is 3 bedrooms per dwelling. The total number of bathrooms will be 6, which is 2 bathrooms per dwelling. 30, the premises is currently unimproved. Following construction, lot coverage by structures for the entire premises would be 6.2%, in a district limited to 20% as of right. The lot coverage by structures, parking, and paving for the entire premises would be 8.2%, in a district limited to 40% lot coverage. For the individual lots, Lot 1, lot coverage by structures will be 10.1%, and lot coverage by structures, parking, and paving will be 13.3%. For Lot 2, the lot coverage by structures will be 8.9%, and lot coverage by structures, parking, and paving will be 11.8%. For Lot 3, lot coverage by structures will be 8.4%, and lot coverage by structures, parking, and paving will be 11.1%. There will be parking spaces provided for 2 vehicles per unit. All lots will be in conformance with the district limits. 32, lawn area is proposed for the front and rear yards with low-maintenance foundation plantings. 33, the proposal does not comply with certain zoning bylaw provisions as provided for in Chapter 40B. The applicant has requested waivers from these provisions, to which it does not comply. The board finds that the need for affordable housing in the town of Falmouth supports the grant of waivers requested and outweighs any local concerns addressed in the provisions so waived. The board finds that the waivers as requested are consistent with local needs and are required to permit the construction and operation of the project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals, being of the opinion or said and acting on the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, Section 2023, and CMR 760-56.0, after due consideration of the recommendation of the local boards voted. So if there's no questions, I would make a motion to approve as discussed.
Well, I think
The
you gotta
findings?
vote the findings first, right? And then before you vote the second part, you'd probably want to discuss the conditions.
Right, vote the findings as
Yeah,
discussed.
as it's just
and
the
then
findings as
conditions.
discussed. So do you
I'll
want,
second it that way.
so I would make a motion to approve the findings as discussed.
Second.
All right, so motion was made by Bob and second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
All right, for the conditions. 1, the construction shall be substantially shown on the plan submitted to and reviewed by the board listed below through subject to additional conditions separately delineated. Overall site plan, sheet 1 of 1 dated April 2nd, 2021. Plan of land, sheet 1 of 1 dated April 5th, 2021. Site plan, sheet 1 of 1 dated January 28th, 2021. Lot 1, site plan, sheet 1 of 2 dated April 2nd, 2021. Septic system details, Lot 3, sheet 2 of 2 dated April 2nd, 2021. Lot 2, site plan, sheet 1 of 2 dated April 2nd, 2021. Sheet 1 of 2 dated April 2nd, 2021. Septic system details, Lot 1, sheet 2 of 2 dated April 2nd, 2021. Lot 3, site plan, sheet 1 of 2 dated April 2nd, 2021. Septic system details, Lot 2, sheet 2 of 2 dated April 2nd, 21, prepared for Falmouth Housing Trust, Lewis Neck Road, East Falmouth, Mass. Is drawn by D.H. Martin Engineering, Inc., 14 Quistit Ave, P.O. Box 741, Woods Hole, Mass. Plans are stamped and signed by David H. Martin, P.E., and Gary S. LeBray, P.L.S. And elevations, sheet A1 of 6, foundation plan and floor plans, sheet A2 of 6, building details, sheet A3 of 6, building details, sheet A4 of 6, sheathing layout, sheet A5 of 6, framing plans and building section, sheet S1 of 6, all plans are dated May 21st, 2019, prepared for Lot 2C, Lewis Neck Road, Falmouth, Mass., as drawn by Main Street Custom Design, LLC, 86 Willow Street, Yarmouthport, Mass. Plans are not stamped or signed. 2, where this is a comprehensive permit granted specifically under Mass General Laws 40B, Section 20.
Excuse me, do you want to vote each?
Do you want to do each one, or just go through and?
I mean, it's up to you.
We'll vote on each one, is it?
Okay, so want to go on number 1?
Sure. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
2, where this comprehensive permit is granted specifically under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, Section 20-23, allowing the override of local zoning density, there shall be no as-of-right changes made to the subject property. Any changes requested shall be properly submitted to the Zoning Board of Appeals as provided under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B. Each condition in this decision shall run with the land and shall, in accordance with its terms, be applicable to and binding on all applicant and the applicant's successors and assigns.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
3, basement space may not be used as a bedroom space, nor may studies, offices, bonus rooms, or family rooms be converted to bedroom space. Any private non-bedrooms shall have a minimum 4-foot wide cased opening. No space may be added or converted to add a bedroom to any unit. Non-compliance with this condition shall be considered a violation of the comprehensive permit.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
4, there should be no accessory structures on the premises, including sheds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
5, parking or storage of any unregistered vehicle, boat, recreational vehicle, or trailers on the premises is strictly prohibited.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
6, all stormwater runoff shall be directed to recharge within the premises.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
7, maintenance and repair of dry wells, subsurface leaching systems, driveways, as well as snow plowing on the premises shall be the responsibility of the property owner.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
8, the maximum height of the dwelling shall be 24 feet 4 inches in height.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
9, the driveway shall remain private.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
10, the development shall be limited to a maximum of 3 single-family detached dwellings with a maximum of 9 total bedrooms. 2 of the dwellings shall remain in perpetuity, affordable to eligible purchasers, whose annual income shall not exceed 80% of the area median income as determined by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. The 3rd dwelling shall remain in perpetuity, affordable to eligible purchasers, whose annual income shall not exceed 100% of the area median income as determined by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Any increase in the number of bedrooms is a violation of the zoning bylaw in this comprehensive permit.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
11, there shall be no further division or subdivision of the premises or the creation of additional housing units or any other structures, including sheds, without the further approval of the Zoning Board of Appeals in the form of an amendment to this decision.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
12, 2 of the 3 affordable year-round, not seasonal, family ownership units shall be included in the subsidized housing inventory, SHI, with all units subject to a regulatory agreement, fair marketing, and income guidelines. Certification of compliance with the affordable housing regulations shall be submitted annually to the Zoning Board of Appeals and Falmouth's affordable housing designee. This certification shall include documentation that each of the affordable ownership unit is occupied by a qualified owner as their principal residence. The affordable unit shall remain affordable in perpetuity, with the use restriction recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds and shall survive sale. Any resale of an affordable unit shall be properly managed by an affordable housing specialist and reported to the ZBA and the town's affordable housing designee, and include the fact that any future owner is subject to the terms and conditions listed herein.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
13, the 2 80% AMI affordable units shall be designated as lots 1 and 2. Lot 3 shall be designated as the 100% AMI affordable unit. All dwellings shall have the same exterior appearance and construction quality and be in conformance with the approved plans.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
Just as a note there, where engineering has provided addresses, I think as a backup, I'll put the addresses in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, just commenting that number 59 was given away, so.
Sorry. Hearing's closed. Can't take any comment.
14, the applicant shall provide the zoning board with a copy of the audited cost certification of the development within 180 days of completion of construction.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
15, any changes from the plan submitted and approved by the zoning board of appeals shall be submitted to the zoning board of appeals for approval prior to implementation of said change. The zoning administrator may make a determination as to whether the changes are substantially as shown on the approved plans referenced in condition number 1 above, and essentially minor in nature and can be approved administratively, or whether the applicant must submit the change to the ZBA pursuant to 760 CMR 56.05(11). Changes made prior to any approval may be subject to a full hearing and are at risk. The ZBA may deny the request, subjecting any unimproved construction to be ordered undone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
16, this comprehensive permit shall be a master permit, which shall subsume all local permits and approvals normally issued by local boards, other than as specifically enumerated in a condition. The Board of Health and Conservation Commission are excluded from this provision.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
17, the comprehensive permit shall not be transferred without express written approval of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
18, each condition in this decision shall run with the land and shall, in accordance with its terms, be applicable to and binding on the applicant and the applicant's successors and assigns.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
19, this permit shall not take effect until a copy of the decision bearing the certification of the town clerk that 20 days has elapsed after the decision has been filed in the office of town clerk with no appeal being filed, is recorded in the Barnstable Registry of Deeds, or that an appeal has been filed within such time. Any person exercising rights under a duly appealed comprehensive permit does so at risk that a court may reverse the permit, and that any construction performed under the permit may be ordered undone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
20, this permit shall lapse 3 years from the date of which this decision is filed in the town clerk's office, if a substantial use of the comprehensive permit is not sooner commenced, except for good cause, as determined by the Zoning Board of Appeals.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Prior to site work. 21, the town is specifically not waiving fees associated with construction, including but not limited to the water line, water tapping sleeve and valve, water meters, and engineering and building department fees.
All those in
So,
favor?
excuse me, just before you vote that, we did have an update today that the select board waived the building department fees. So I will correct that to show that that's been approved by the select board, and we do just need to verify whether or not the water has also been waived. So there may be a slight change to that.
So if it's changed, what do we have to,
It should say except as otherwise waived by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
what do we add that in?
Passed unless otherwise waived.
All right,
So we'll
good-
go with that change.
Good with that language?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
The town requires that the water lines be installed at town standards. The applicant shall comply with the Falmouth Water Department rules and regulation. Water Department fees and requirements shall be the responsibility of the developer. Separate applications for water service shall be made for each unit with appropriate plans, including a meter request. Water Department sign-off is required for building permits.
And all those in favor?
So again, that
Oh,
will have
sorry.
that modification.
Add the same thing with the
that if
modification at the end,
select board
unless it's
waives-
waived.
All right, so with that revision, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
23, there should be no access to the premises by workers prior to the approved construction hours of 7 a.m. or after 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday. No Sunday or holiday hours are allowed, absent an emergency. All construction vehicles shall remain strictly on the subject property and not obstruct sidewalks or park in abutting streets. Construction vehicles are prohibited from idling on or near the premises outside of construction hours. During construction, efforts shall be undertaken to minimize impacts on abutters, including securing dumpsters, stabilizing soil to guard against erosion from a rain event, utilizing wash stations, and ensuring that the public roadways are kept clean. If compliance with the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions, 8/20/20 Appendix, with the Zoning Board of Appeals as the permitting authority, the applicant shall consult with town engineering, site inspector regarding a preferred construction route to protect town roads and installation of a wash station and dust management during construction, and shall comply with general engineering requirements.
So also before you vote that one, there was a question raised about whether, and this will come up again later, whether you want to require a site inspector for this application or not. You did not have peer engineering for the application itself. Town engineering was willing to do the review. They've also pointed out this is a private way,
road.
so they would not typically do any type of review on a driveway permit or something like that, because that's not applicable. So the question here would be whether you want to require or assign a site inspector. Given the small density of this property,
And it's on a private way.
yeah, I don't specifically have a problem with waiving that.
I wouldn't have a problem with waiving it just because it's on a private way and it's a level.
I think it should be waived.
So I will just exclude any references, including that one, to the site inspector.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so voting on that as discussed, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
24, trees straddling the property line shall be assumed to be jointly owned and cannot be damaged without prior written approval of both parties. Trees to be protected and preserved shall be identified in the field and on a plan, a copy of which shall be submitted to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
The applicant shall contact the town's police department to discuss coordinating of traffic during construction. The applicant shall provide to the police, building department, and ZBA the name and phone number and email address of the project contact individual throughout the duration of the construction process to ensure that any questions or concerns, including those of abutters and residents, are timely managed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
So again,
So can we,
26,
so would we remove 26?
right, would be related to the site inspector.
So do we just take a vote to remove it?
That's fine.
Or just
Just vote
skip
it down.
Yeah. So we'll just delete 26.
Voting to delete it and then renumber the rest?
And renumber.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
All right, so 27, now 26. The applicant shall meet with the Falmouth Police Department to determine when or if police details would be required. All police details required by the Falmouth Police Department or per applicant's own choice shall be paid for by the applicant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
28, now 27. Prior to starting work under the comprehensive permit, the applicant and general contractor shall hold a pre-construction meeting with the building commissioner, town engineer, water superintendent, Department of Public Works representative, fire inspector, zoning administrator, and Board of Health agent to review the conditions to ensure compliance with this decision and town requirements. I deleted site inspector.
Does that have to have language on where that meeting takes place?
No.
All right, so with the deletion of site inspector, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
We've
unanimously.
actually had a couple of those via Zoom in COVID.
Okay.
29, construction shall be in accordance with all requirements of town engineering, including the town's 2020 soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions. Appendix A, the applicant shall request inspections in writing at least 24 hours in advance. Re-inspection fees shall be per subsection 305-5 to the town and as negotiated with the site,
So this is going to fall under the site inspector issue as well. I guess the question is, the soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions,
So you probably should have the conditions, but we don't need the,
right, seem to, so I guess it might be appropriate to request that they follow those town standards, but that you're not gonna specifically have an outside inspector.
okay, so then we would just put,
So maybe
it is
you would just
requested
say
that construction shall be in accordance with all requirements of the town engineering, including the town's 2020 soil erosion sediment control standard conditions, Appendix A. The applicant shall request,
and then you'd probably just,
Delete the
A,
rest of
that's it, because
Delete the
the,
rest.
yeah, delete everything else.
All right, so stopping at appendix A and
Yep.
then deleting the rest there.
It's a request, yeah.
All right,
Oh, and then, A. Oh. All right, Noreen, so then all of those would just be,
yeah, I
request
guess
they be
though,
installed,
I mean, I guess the only issue is with E, I mean, typically you still want to remind people that they should, to the extent possible, try to save trees that they can. So maybe I would get rid of A through D and maybe just leave E and move it up just as part of that first sentence.
okay, so we'll remove A through D. And E will become A. So any trees or proximate to the lot line shall be preserved to the extent possible. Trees on the lot line are considered jointly owned and cannot be removed, absent approval by both property owners. Any such trees be saved shall be marked with a sufficient perimeter, usually a drip line, to ensure protection of the roots.
All right, all those in favor as revised?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
30, the private driveway shall not be considered for acceptance by the town. As such, the driveway shall be privately owned, and maintenance shall be responsibility of the applicant in perpetuity. Any required utility easement shall be in a form and manner as prescribed by the town.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Add a comment, would it say the applicant or
Should be owner, right?
accessors? Yeah, it should be the owner, applicant or. it's
Or property owner,
accessors in
accessor.
ownership.
Want to review 30?
Clarification, I know I'm not supposed to speak, but if I could,
We'll call it the rinse station exception.
Sure.
the RS exception.
All right, so responsibility.
Clarification,
So the driveway shall be privately owned, and maintenance shall be the responsibility of the applicant's successors or assigns in perpetuity. Any requirement, utility easement shall be in a form and manner as prescribed by the town.
All right, voting that as revised, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes
Uh,
unanimously.
31, this is prior to building permit. So 31, actually, it'll be 30. A certified plot plan including building and lot dimensions for each structure and including the new assessor lot designation and address as assigned by engineering shall match architectural plans and shall be provided to the ZBA in order to receive a sign-off for a building permit. An original subdivision plan for recording at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds to create the 3 lots and open space shall be submitted to the zoning board for signature and recorded at the Registry of Deeds with a recorded copy submitted to the board before issuance of a building permit.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
32, now 31. Construction shall be in accordance with any requirements of town engineering, including items specifically delineated in the letter April 30th, 2021. A, permanent monumentation shall be placed at lot angles and lot intersection points to delineate boundaries as approved by town engineering. B, stormwater must be managed on site. No increase in stormwater runoff is allowed. The construction process shall comply with the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions as found on the town engineering webpage and attached as Appendix A document. The zoning board of appeals should be the permitting authority.
Did we discount that Appendix A document?
Well, it's a request now versus so how do you,
Right.
Well,
and it's not, there's no sign off, so,
yeah, I think it's probably still, if you're gonna reference the document, it's probably still appropriate to attach it.
Absolutely.
And you are asking them to comply to that, except that you're not requiring the inspections.
so we're crossing out the last sentence, engineering sign off is
Right.
required prior to building.
Well, it's, actually, it says engineering sign-off is required prior to the issuance of a building permit, and so that would be accurate. Because engineering signs off on everything. This is part of the building permit.
Okay, so my only question is, the soil erosion and sediment control standards
Right.
that we usually use, did in the last thing we asked, said was a request. In, because we couldn't require it,
Right, but the
and
engineering.
now we're requiring a sign off of it.
Well, no, but the engineering sign-off is relating to meeting any requirements that they may have for a building permit. So engineering will sign off on a building permit for every building that's constructed.
But it's not part of the soil erosion sediment control standards.
Right,
So that's what I'm just asking. So the way this reads,
yeah.
it sounds like the engineering sign-off is for the soil erosion sediment controls, because it's in
I
that
mean,
paragraph.
we can eliminate that last sentence if you want.
Yeah, I would just cut it out. Unless you want it separate somewhere else, it just doesn't.
All right, so eliminating the last sentence of section B.
Yeah, because we can't require, permanent monumentation. Actually, you could add, okay, so permanent monumentation, section points limited boundaries as approved by town engineering. So does engineering usually sign off on the monumentation in advance?
I'm not sure. I think they've just requested it so that everybody's aware what the
Okay.
lot lines are.
We'll just delete it then.
All right, so we're sticking with deleting the last sentence. so-
Especially contract included items specifically dealing with letter dated April 2021. So is there anything else in that letter dated April 30th, 2021 that's separate from the soil erosion and sediment control standards?
All right, so you're asking what was listed in the.
I'm just
engineering-
asking if that thing, that sentence about engineering sign-off has to do with any other thing besides stormwater.
No, so engineering, that's just standard engineering department signs off on every building permit.
Oh, no, I know that, but under 32, it says that construction shall be in accordance with engineering, including the items delineated in the April 30th, 2020 letter. Then A talks about lot boundaries. B talks about the stormwater, which is now request. So should there be a C that just says engineering sign-off is required prior to? Because I don't know if there's any other thing that engineering has to sign off of.
Yeah, we could just, I could move it down to C if you want. Just have it be a separate.
A separate issue, because it might have to do with the other stuff on 32.
All right, so we're voting on that as revised.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
32 now, 33 now 32, the applicant shall comply with the Board of Health requirements for a Title V septic system.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
34 now 33, prior to the installation of any stormwater leaching facilities, the site inspector shall observe the bottom of excavation, and the applicant's engineer shall verify the elevation is a minimum of 2 feet above estimated seasonal high groundwater.
So I'm proposing to remove that condition. I think that was a carryover from another decision. I don't think that that's necessary. Because we also are not using a site inspector.
I don't agree with that. That's a site condition inspection to see if it needs to be a strip out or. That alleviates them from having to abide by the correct soil conditions, in my opinion.
I didn't say storm relation. If we don't have a site,
Does it still have to be inspected by the health department?
So the health department will be doing inspections on anything related to Title V.
All right, so if
So we
that's
could-
in there, then you
Right.
can eliminate that,
Yeah.
because that's prior to the installation.
That was gonna be my suggestion.
So that we'd be eliminating 34?
Yes.
which is now,
33.
which is 33,
Which is now, all right, so eliminating
that section.
what is 34, which is now 33. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Passes unanimously.
Okay, so 35, now 33. Oh, 34, yeah, now 33. Final addressing and unit designation shall be as provided by town engineering and the assessor.
All those in favor?
Just a
Oops,
question,
sorry.
don't you have to put that affixing of legible numbers
That does appear
in time for compliance?
somewhere. Yes. I believe it comes in.
I think it's
late-
section
so it's
99.1.
under prior to occupancy because you want to ensure that the address is properly
Okay, so,
posted.
but it's in there later on.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine then.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
So 36, 34, now 34, prior to the issuance of a building permit for a building or unit, the applicant is required to submit to Mass Housing request for final approval of the project in accordance with the comprehensive permit rules, 760 CMR 56.04, and the guidelines including Part 3 concerning affirmative fair housing, marketing, and resident selection. A copy of the final approved letter shall be submitted to the zoning board of appeals.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Any deviation, no matter how minor, from plans submitted and approved shall be submitted to the board for approval prior to the implementation of said change. The zoning administrator may make a determination as to whether the changes are minor in nature and can be approved administratively, or whether they will require a hearing or amendment. Changes made prior to an approval may be subject to a full hearing and are at risk. ZBA may deny the request, subjecting any unapproved construction be ordered undone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
The applicant is required to provide, 1, a regulatory agreement and declaration of restrictive covenants for ownership project. And 2, an affordable housing deed rider specifying that affordable units shall remain affordable in perpetuity. And 3, a declaration of trust for the homeowners association. These collective documents shall be provided to the zoning board of appeals for approval by town council prior to the issuance of any building permit and subsequently recorded at the registry of deeds in Barnstable. The applicant, as a limited dividend organization, is limited in its profits under general laws, chapter 40B, and any excess profit shall be paid by the applicant and distributed as required by the subsidizing agency in accordance with the applicable law, regulations, and guidelines.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Final lottery agent, lottery plan, and marketing plan shall be submitted to the zoning board of appeals prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Prior to occupancy, the final certificate of occupancy shall not be issued until all required site work, including landscaping, drainage, or other improvements, are completed. The developer may request that the ZBA consider a bond for the value of incomplete work to ensure that the work is completed in accordance with plans.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Any damage to the newly paved roadway during the construction process shall be repaired at the expense of the applicant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
The building numbers shall be posted by the applicant in accordance with subsection 99(1), affixing of legible numbers required. As formally assigned by town engineer with the building permit application approved by the Falmouth Fire Prevention Inspector prior to prior to issuance of an occupancy permit. The applicant shall also post the address at the street for the shared driveway for houses 57 and 59 Lewis Neck Road. I think just after you have affixing of legible numbers required, you need to put comma, time limit, with that other sentence they use. I think it's time limit for compliance.
Right, so that is just asking you to specify what your timeline is, and what you're saying is that they can't get an occupancy permit until the address is posted.
Yeah, I think it's just part of that subsection, 'cause they're adding it in all of them. I think it just has to say time limit for compliance, and that's part of their designation.
All right, so you want to revise the language, Bob?
It's just gonna say fixing of legible numbers required, time limits for compliance, and then as formally assigned by town engineering with the building permit application and approval of the fire inspector prior to issuance of occupancy permit. The applicant shall also post the address at the street for the shared driveway for houses 57, 59 Lewis Neck Road.
All right. All those in favor as revised?
Aye.
Aye.
43, a certified as-built plan for each of the 3 lots shall be provided to the building department, copy to ZBA for review for conformance to the approved plans prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. The as-built plan shall be an overlay on the site layout plan with the addition of the proposed stormwater management systems, structures, and pipes added to serve as the approved base plan, plus water lines and septic components. Any deviations from the approved plan shall be clearly shown in a red line over the base plan, which should be faded back for clarity. The as-built shall be certified by both a licensed inspector, certified by both a licensed surveyor and a registered engineer that work was performed in conformance with the approved plans and all permits.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Prior to the issuance of any certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall enter into a monitoring agreement to be approved by town council. All costs associated with the monitoring shall be borne by the applicant until the sale of the last affordable unit, and thereafter by the sellers of the affordable units. A copy of all financial information by the monitoring agent shall be provided to the zoning board of appeals after the initial round of sales.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Landscaping shall be installed as presented, with all plant materials maintained in good health. Any materials substantially diseased or dead shall be removed and replaced within 2 years of the final certificate of occupancy. Any mature perimeter trees should be maintained if possible. The area designated open space shall remain undisturbed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Lighting as required by the building code shall be dark sky compliant and not shed light off the subject lot. Spotlights are prohibited.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Dry wells shall be sited a minimum of 10 feet from a building or lot line, installed in a 2-foot envelope of crushed stone and connected to roof leaders. Any dry well under a parking area shall be H20 low rated. Homeowners shall be apprised of said installation to ensure maintenance and preservation of dry wells for the future, and this shall be added to the homeowner's documents.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
And now here's the waivers. First, any waiver not specifically granted herein is denied.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
The waiver from section 240-67A, the requirement for a minimum 40,000 square foot lot in single resident C zoning district.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
The waiver from section 240-67A, the requirement for a minimum 100 foot of street frontage in the single resident C zoning district.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
The waiver from section 240-67A, the requirement for a minimum lot width of 100 feet in the single resident C zoning district.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
All right, so we'll go back to, all right, so then I will make a motion to grant this comprehensive permit as voted this evening.
Second.
All right, motion was made by Bob and seconded by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
So now therefore be resolved, the zoning board of appeals being of the opinion or aforesaid and acting under the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B and 20-23 and CMR 76056.0, after due consideration of the recommendations of local boards, voted 4-0, following a motion made by Mr. Dugan and seconded by Mr. Morse to grant a comprehensive permit with conditions under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, Section 20-23, for the construction of 3 single-family dwellings, 2 of which will be affordable in perpetuity to households whose income is not more than 80% of the area median income, and 1 of which will be affordable in perpetuity to households whose income is not more than 100% of the median income, as determined by HUD and DHCD, at 55 Lewis Neck Road, East Falmouth, Mass., Parcel 2C, Assessors Map 40, Section 03, Parcel 001C, Lot 002C, the premises. To the extent permitted by law, preference for the sale of the unit shall be given to first-time homebuyers that are Falmouth residents, employees of the town or within the town, or who have children attending town schools. This comprehensive permit shall be subject to all the conditions as stated.
All right. That does it?
That does it.
All right.
All those in favor?
Yes, they voted.
Yeah,
That's up.
After all that.
yeah, after all that, yeah, we did.
Wow, thank you so
Turner.
much. That's, appreciate it. A lot of reading, a lot of work. Thank you.
All right. Back to the agenda. Board updates, anything?
More codification, I guess. When's the next? They extended another hearing.
Yeah, I don't think it was specified, but they're anticipating it being before town meeting this fall.
Did the planning board ever send us what the current proposal is for all this new zoning district? Whatever their current,
I can get you a copy and
just so the board can just review it in case they have any comments, in case we need to make any comments at town meeting.
All right. Anything else for board updates?
you have another new board member.
I was just about to say.
Who had
yes.
travel plans out of the country and sends regrets, but will be here in the near future.
You'll be joining us soon.
Following COVID protocol.
Hopefully a good country.
Whatever the protocol is of the day.
All right. All right. Anything else for board updates? Board discussion?
I guess once the new member's back, then we'll decide on a date for the Saturday.
Yep, a little retreat morning session. Looking forward to getting back into that. All right. Anything else, board discussion? Future agenda items? All right, and our next meeting is September 16th. All right, see everyone then. Meeting adjourned.